Dr. Yukti and I welcome you to Dental 360, another day of quick and easy concept-based learning. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about apoptosis. Okay. So before we start with the lecture, I have tried researching and accumulating a lot of information about apoptosis, most as I could. Okay, and which will be helpful for both BDS and MDS students. So please stay tuned till the end of the lecture to understand in detail about apoptosis. Okay, so without any further ado, let us start. Apoptosis in Greek means falling off. It means falling off. So what do we understand when we hear the word falling off? Falling off is generally used with suppose a fruit has fallen off from the tree, right? So unless and until externally plugged, when does the fruit fall off from the tree? When it is ripe, completely ripe, and then it no longer is required on the tree, right? So since we are discussing cellular pathology here, in this example, the fruit is nothing but the cell. So what is happening is, when the cell is no longer required by the body, or the cell is proven to be harmful to the body decides to eliminate the cell. Okay, so apoptosis is nothing but a cell death. And since the body itself is trying to eliminate the cell, it is a suicide program, right? It's a suicide program. So how does this happen? The cell which is destined to die, it will produce some degradative enzymes. Okay, and these enzymes are going to digest the cellular and the nuclear proteins. The proteins which are present in the cell and the nucleus. Ultimately, the cell is going to fragment into small pieces. These are called as apoptotic bodies. These are called as apoptotic bodies. And what happens to these apoptotic bodies? They will be phagocytosed by a macrophage. Okay, so it undergoes phagocytosis. So this is the fate of a cell which is undergoing apoptosis, right? So putting together everything, let us frame a definition for apoptosis. So we know that apoptosis is a pathway of cell death. It's a pathway of cell death that is induced by a tightly regulated suicide program in which the cells which are destined to die, what they are going to do? They are going to activate some enzymes. They activate the enzymes, and what are these enzymes going to do? They will degenerate or degrade, right? So they will degenerate or degrade the nuclear and cytoplasmic proteins. Right? So this is your definition of apoptosis. Clear? Right. Now, having a brief idea about apoptosis, about the definition and actually what happens, let us see the causes of apoptosis. Okay. Moving on to the causes of apoptosis. The causes of apoptosis are two types. Either it can be physiological, which is not associated with any disease process and occurs normally, or it can be pathological. Right? So first let us discuss about the physiological causes of apoptosis. An excellent example of the physiological cause of apoptosis is during embryogenesis. You must, if you recollect your embryology classes, there were so many structures there were so many cells which fused to form a particular structure, and later the remnants of these cells involuted, right? So that involution was what? That was nothing but those cells were undergoing apoptosis. Okay, I can quote so many examples of this embryogenesis. Let me quote a few classic examples. One of them is during the formation of our fingers and toes. So that fingers and toes, the separated fingers and toes that we have in the adult, it was not like that. In fetal stage, we had a webbed fingers and toes. We had like this, like a duck. Later what happened is, this was one phalange, this was another one. So in between the excess tissue which was present between the two fingers or toes, they underwent apoptosis. So ultimately resulting in the normal fingers and toes that we have, which are well separated from each other, right? So that is one example. Then, because we are dental students, I'll give the another two examples are from dentistry. The ameloblast, once they form enamel, they also undergo apoptosis. The ameloblast also, after the formation of enamel, they undergo apoptosis. That is why in mature tooth or in mature enamel, there is no ameloblast. And that is the same reason that enamel cannot be repaired. Okay, so this is also a very, very important point. Now, your dentine and pulp, they are formed from the odontoblast, right? And odontoblasts are present at the pulp dentine border. But, so anytime if the dentine or the pulp is injured, the body has the capacity to regenerate those two tissues. But ameloblast, they are not present because they undergo apoptosis. So that is why enamel once injured is injured for life. You can't regenerate enamel. Okay. Similarly, when there is physiological shedding of the tooth, during the physiological shedding, what happens? When the milk teeth shed, what happens to the periodontal ligament cells which are present? They undergo apoptosis. So during the physiological shedding, the cells of the periodontal ligament, these also undergo apoptosis. Okay. So these are the few examples of embryogenesis where the cells are undergoing apoptosis after their function is executed. Correct? Now let us move on to the second physiological cause. So moving on to the next physiological cause, we are still in the physiological causes of apoptosis. Okay, here there are some hormone dependent tissues and cells in our body, and these cells, when on withdrawal of their hormone or when the levels of these hormones decrease, these cells will also undergo apoptosis. So hormone dependent cells or tissues, they undergo apoptosis on withdrawal of the hormone. So coming to the few examples. So the example is endometrium cell breakdown during menstrual cycle. During menstrual cycle, what happens is the estrogen levels suddenly fall down. So when these estrogen levels fall down, the endometrium cells, they start to undergo apoptosis. Similarly, during weaning, when the child stops having the breast milk, the lactating breast also regresses. Lactating breast regression once the weaning starts. So that is also one example of apoptosis, right? Then the third physiological cause of apoptosis is the self-reactive lymphocytes. Self-reactive lymphocytes. what are these what are these self-reactive lymphocytes? Now, we know what are lymphocytes, right? These are immune cells which normally protect the body from the foreign organisms. Now, here, as the name is suggesting, self-reactive, these are certain subset of the lymphocytes which have the potential to cause autoimmunity. That is, they recognize the cell's own antigen as foreign antigen and starts destroying it. Okay, so these lymphocytes, these self-reactive lymphocytes, either T cells or B cells, they are recognized and destroyed by the body by the same mechanism, that is apoptosis. Because if the body does not destroy it, it will lead to autoimmunity. That is again harmful for the body, right? So these self-reactive T cells are destroyed in the thymus, and the self-reactive B lymphocytes are destroyed in the bone marrow and spleen. Okay. Then, apart from this, another example is the death of the host cells after they complete their useful purpose. So, death of the host cells after they complete their function. So, what could be the example of this? See, the neutrophils, whenever there is an inflammation, the neutrophils, acute inflammation, the neutrophils are recruited, chronic inflammation, lymphocytes are recruited. Either which ways, after the inflammation is resolved, these neutrophils and lymphocytes have executed their function, right? So they also undergo apoptosis and is eliminated from the body. Okay, so these are the examples of physiological causes of apoptosis. Moving on with the pathological causes of apoptosis. Before we start, let me tell you something. See, whenever there is an insult to the body, whether in the form of any irradiation or any chemical injury or any thermal injury, anything, the body's first reaction will be to repair it. Only when this injury occurs beyond repair that the body will try to eliminate the cell. Okay, so here also whatever we are discussing are only different types of injury by which the cell can be injured, right? So first is the DNA damage. DNA damage. Now, the cell's DNA can be damaged because of various reasons. It can be damaged because of the radiation, or if there is hypoxia. Hypoxia is nothing but decreased in the oxygen levels, or any anti-cancer drugs. So when any of these factors damages the DNA, the cell will normally try to repair it. So the cell is trying to repair these damages that is taking place. If this repair goes well, it's okay. If it does not go well, that is the injury is beyond repair, then apoptosis is initiated. Okay? Then, so moving on to the next cause, that is accumulation of misfolded proteins. Accumulation of misfolded proteins. So generally what happens is the proteins, before they are released into the cytoplasm, these proteins undergo folding. Okay, and this folding occurs in the endoplasmic reticulum. If there is any kind of misfolding or unfolding that has taken place, these proteins are generally, or these misfolded proteins can produce pathology. So if there is accumulation of these misfolded proteins in the endoplasmic reticulum, they lead to something called as ER stress. That is nothing but endoplasmic reticulum stress. Okay, and then that will be a trigger when the body will understand that now apoptosis has to be initiated. So then these proteins will undergo apoptosis. Okay, so this is another example for pathological cause of apoptosis. Then The third is infections, especially viral infections induce apoptosis of many virally infected cells. Then lastly, any duct obstruction. So generally if you take any gland, like for example your parotid gland, okay, if there is any kind of obstruction in this duct, the parenchyma which is present proximal to the duct, they undergo apoptosis because of the lack of function. The duct is obstructed here. Similar thing happens in the kidneys or the pancreas. Okay, so this is the pathological causes of apoptosis. So having covered the physiological and pathological causes of apoptosis, let us move on to the mechanism of apoptosis. Very, very important. Very, very important is the mechanism of apoptosis. Before we start with mechanism, let us discuss about an important enzyme which is involved in apoptosis, that is caspase. It is caspase. Caspase is nothing but, C stands for cysteine, so it is cysteine dependent. ASP stands for aspartate, it is aspartate directed. ASE stands for protease. So it is a proteolytic enzyme which is cysteine dependent and aspartate directed. So it is a caspase. This caspase can be of two types. It is an initiator caspase or executioner caspase. Initiator or executioner. The name itself is implying what they are what they are going to do. Initiator is going to initiate the apoptosis, whereas executioner caspase is going to execute or end the apoptosis, right? The initiator caspases are caspase 8 and 9, whereas executioner caspases are 3 and 6. So this is about the enzyme caspase. Now, having learnt about the enzyme, let us now move on to the phases and pathways of apoptosis. So now the process of apoptosis also takes place in two phases, that is the initiation phase and the execution phase. Initiation and execution. What happens in the initiation phase is the caspase that we were talking about, that enzyme gets activated. So caspase gets activated, okay? And in the execution, after the activation of caspase, the apoptotic process takes place, which trigger the degradation of the cellular enzymes, or sorry, cellular components through enzymes. Cellular components, okay? So that happens in the execution phase. Now, the initiation phase of apoptosis can occur by three pathways. It can occur by intrinsic pathway, or it can occur by extrinsic pathway, or it can also occur by something called as perforin granzyme pathway. Okay. Coming to the intrinsic pathway, the word intrinsic implies that somewhere inside. So this pathway is called intrinsic because it is occurring inside the mitochondria, that is inside the cell in the mitochondria. So it is initiating in the mitochondria. Extrinsic and perforin pathways, they are mainly associated with the lymphocytes. Of course, they occur within the, they occur in the cell, but they are associated with the lymphocytes. Okay. So how and what they are associated with, we'll see it in the next segment. So let us start with the intrinsic, extrinsic and perforin granzyme pathways, right? So let us start with the intrinsic pathway first. Before we start with intrinsic pathway, there is one gene that you need to know, which is the BCL2 gene, okay, and it is nothing but an anti-apoptotic protein or anti-apoptotic gene. So under normal circumstances, what it does is it prevents the cell from undergoing apoptosis. But when there is some insult to the cell, for example radiation or any other kind of insult that we were dealing in a few seconds before, so if there is any kind of injury to the cell, the BH3 proteins, BH3 only proteins, that is BIM, BID and BAD, they are released. Okay, these BH3 only proteins, they block this BCL2 protein so that it cannot stop the cell from undergoing apoptosis. At the same time, it also activates two main proteins, which are BAX and BAC. And these two proteins, what they do is they increase the permeability, or actually they try to leak the mitochondria. Okay, so the cell membrane, the mitochondrial membrane become leaky, and the cytochrome C, which is present inside the mitochondria, it spills out into the cytoplasm. And once it is out in the cytoplasm, it binds with something called as APAF1, that is apoptosis activating factor. And when cytochrome C binds with the apoptotic activating factor, it forms a wheel-like hexamer, which is called as apoptosome. Okay, it is called as apoptosome. This apoptosome activates the procaspase 9 into caspase 9. Okay, so it activates the procaspase 9 into activated caspase 9. What is caspase 9? It is a initiator caspase. Okay, so now till here the initiator caspase has been activated through the mitochondria, that is the intrinsic pathway. Now let us move on to the extrinsic pathway. In the extrinsic pathway, what happens is, see, this is a cell. It is an infected cell. So the infected cell or the affected cell which is undergoing apoptosis, it expresses Fas receptor on the cell surface, and to this Fas receptor the Fas ligand comes and binds. This Fas ligand is from the T lymphocytes. Okay, so this ligand comes and binds. When the ligand binds to the receptor, internally inside the cell, FADD gets activated. What is FADD? Fas associated death domain. The name itself suggests death domain. This gets activated, and this FAD, that is FADD, this will in turn activate the caspase 8, which is another initiator caspase. Okay, so this is the initiator caspase is being activated through extrinsic pathway, right? Then the third pathway that we read was granzyme or perforin granzyme pathway. The T cells, even this pathway is mediated via T cells only. The T cells will release some substance which is called as perforins. Okay, these perforins, they form they cause the transmembrane pores. That is, they make the cell membrane porous, so that the substance which is called as granzymes are entering into the cell. Okay, and these granzymes, they can either directly activate the executioner caspase without the initiator caspase being involved, or they can directly cleave the DNA and cause the destruction of the cell. Okay, so here also we have seen till this phase where the executioner caspase has been activated. So now all these three pathways, they are in the initiation phase. Now they all precede the execution phase. So what happens in the execution phase now is the initiator caspases with respect to intrinsic and extrinsic pathway, they in turn activates the executioner pathway, that is executioner caspases, which are caspase 3 and 6, and once these are activated, they start the process of apoptosis. Okay, so what do I mean by start the process of apoptosis? They will start degrading the enzymes, and you will see all the morphological features that we are going to see in the next section, all these features will be seen in the apoptotic cell. Okay, so this is the pathway or mechanism of apoptosis. So now let us move on to the morphological features of apoptosis. So let us see the morphological changes in the apoptotic cell. Now, whenever you, for example, see a person who is going through a prolonged illness, and if his end time is near, so what is the characteristic or a remarkable feature that you'll see about him or her? It will be that the person has become very weak, right? The same thing happens with the cell here. The first change that you see is the cell shrinkage. The cell will reduce or shrink in size. So a normal cell, which was about this size, with all the cell organelles, the nucleus, the endoplasmic reticulum, the mitochondria, okay, they will reduce in size. Okay, so cell size has been reduced. What about the organelles which are present inside it? Nothing happens to them, they are normal only, but now because of the decreased size of the cell, these organelles are tightly packed. So the cell organelles are tightly packed. That is one characteristic change that you see in the apoptotic cell. Next thing that you see, another very characteristic feature of apoptosis is chromatin condensation. Chromatin condensation. Okay, so specifically what happens to the nucleus and the chromatin which is present inside. So suppose this is the nucleus, okay. The chromatin which is present, it starts condensing peripherally mainly, okay, near the nuclear membrane, and some in the center also. This kind of condensation this phenomenon is known as pycnosis. Pycnosis, where the chromatin has been condensed peripherally under the nuclear membrane, okay. Later, what happens is this condensed chromatin or the nucleus, it fragments into smaller pieces. Okay, this phenomenon is called as karyorrhexis. Karyo means nucleus, rhexis. Okay, so this is also one important feature of, or one important morphological change of apoptosis. Then the third one that we see is the formation of cytoplasmic blebs. Cytoplasmic blebs. So here what happens is, this is the cell, okay. The cell will suddenly show blebbing on the outer cytoplasmic membrane like this, okay. So this is called as cytoplasmic blebbing, and later parts of this cell will be fragmented into many smaller parts like this. Some may contain nuclear fragments, some may not contain nuclear fragments. So these, when they fragment into smaller pieces, these are now called as apoptotic bodies. These are now called as apoptotic bodies. So this is what we were discussing, or we talked about in the beginning also. So if you remember, what happens to these apoptotic bodies? A large macrophage comes and it engulfs these bodies, right? So the macrophage will engulf this body, ultimately causing phagocytosis. So the ultimate fate is the phagocytosis. So these are the morphological changes that you see in apoptosis. Now one important thing that I need to mention here, in contrast to necrosis, where necrosis is also a type of cell death only, but in necrosis the body does not want the cell to die, right? Because of any external and unfortunate factor there, the cell has to die, right? But that is not the case with apoptosis. One more important feature is you don't see inflammation associated in apoptosis, whereas necrosis is always and always associated with inflammation. Okay, the reason is not because here the body wants and necrosis is not necrosis is pathological change. Not that. The main reason is, as you can see here, even when the apoptotic bodies are ingested by the macrophages, the plasma membrane is always intact. Okay, wherever you see. So the contents of the cell is not spilled into the interstitium. That is why there is no reaction which is elicited in the form of inflammation in apoptosis. So that is very important, that you do not see inflammation. You do not see inflammation, right? And why don't you see it? Because the plasma membrane is intact. So plasma membrane is intact, and the cellular contents it's not spilled in the adjacent interstitium, right? Now we have told that the apoptotic bodies undergo phagocytosis, right? But why does this, or how does this apoptotic bodies attract the macrophage and cause apoptosis, or cause phagocytosis? There are some kind of changes that these cells these cells undergo, and that make them more susceptible to phagocytosis. So let us take a look on what are those changes also. Okay. The first thing that happens is the expression of phosphatidylserine. This substance is normally found on the inside of the cell. Okay, so suppose this is the cell. This substance is found on the inside, but during apoptosis this flips out. Okay, the word is it flips out and expresses itself on the outer surface of the cell membrane, and this particular substance will attract the macrophages to come and undergo phagocytosis. Okay, so that is one reason. The second is because of the cells are covered with some opsonins which make them more tasty, or which make them more likable for the macrophages to come and eat them. These opsonins can be immunoglobulins like IgG, or it can be the proteins from the complement system, especially C3b. So any of these opsonins can be found on the surface of the cells which attract them to the macrophages. Okay, so I think this is it about apoptosis. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Okay, and if you have any doubts, or if you want any extra thing to be covered about apoptosis, do leave a comment in the comment box. I'll surely reply to it. Okay, thank you and all the best.